Hello and welcome all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, or new viewers, or old viewers, or somebody who has no idea what a fighting fantasy is or what a game book is. Feel free to join up and have a look, because today, after playing three random books from the Fighting Fantasy series, I played Fighting Fantasy number 50, Return to Firetop Mountain. I've played Fighting Fantasy 13, Freeway Fighter, there's a lot of F's there, and number 9, Cabins of the Snow Witch. And I decided, of course, that I was going to play every single one of them because I enjoyed myself so much and I enjoyed making these videos for you guys. And so I thought perhaps it was time to start playing them in order. So today I'm going to start by playing the one that started it all, the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. And this is an early edition. This is the one with a star on it. I also have the Dragon Banner edition a little bit later, and also I have the Wizard Icon edition from the first reprints after it was taken over by a new publisher because Puffin foolishly, or Penguin Puffin foolishly let it go in the 90s. So Warlock of Firetop Mountain is the first proper, I would say, game book in the world. There are other game books that were published before, but these ones were a bit different in that they tried to emulate a role-playing game rather than being more like interactive fiction that some people still like. In fact, I know there are lots of people I've seen comments on interactive fiction writing forums where people don't like if there are too many choices, and they don't like if and I think all multiple endings should be interesting and things like that. But they're thinking about it from a completely different perspective. They're thinking about it from writing a novel or a short story perspective. If you think of it from a game perspective, it is trying to emulate a fantasy role-playing game. So that is a very different thing. And of course, that is what they were trying to do in this book, which started out as an idea they had for trying to teach people about role-playing games. So when Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone, they got approached by publishers about writing a book about role-playing games, because it was a very alien concept to people in the late 70s and early 80s, and it might still be today, but I think more people are used to it now, what a role-playing game is. But how do you explain it to someone? How do you write a book and explain it to someone? And they thought perhaps the best way to explain it is to show it. So by giving the reader a little game to play, and of course the only way to do that in a single player scenario in the book is to do what they did with these books, which is give you different paragraphs that are numbered, and at the end of each paragraph you're either told to go to another paragraph, or you have different choices that tell you that if you want to go left, you go to this paragraph. If you want to go right, you turn to that paragraph. If you want to fight the monster, you go to this paragraph. If you want to search the cupboards, you go to this paragraph. And of course, when you fight something, you were sort of told at the end, if you win, go to this paragraph, etc., etc., etc. So it is a bit more limiting than the more freestyle of a conventional role-playing scenario with a game master and with a player sitting around the table. But it's very close to the experience and thrill of it, I think, in a more limited form, a more streamlined form as well. And of course, it has the game elements of the battles. You got your abilities like skill and stamina. Of course, it's very simplified compared to a role-playing game. But there are, of course, later game books, both in this series and also, of course, other books written by others that have more complicated game mechanics in their books. I think that they actually were considering different options and decided to go on something quite simple for a reason when they made these. And while these books were published by Puffin, and of course Puffin aiming at younger readers, when they wrote them, they were not trying to dumb them down at all. I mean, the language, the words they use, it's it's not necessarily very different from what you would expect in a book for grown-ups. Um, and a lot of it is quite sort of some of the pictures and the violence, as it were. It's quite graphic for somebody quite young to read about, but it's I think it's quite people find it quite thrilling. And of course, kids they find these things quite exciting, especially young boys. I think in the 80s. So they certainly hit the nail on the head with this concept, and this became a multi-million copy bestsellers. These books, and this book, it doesn't say anything about how many have been sold, so that's quite an early one. This one is quite a bit later, and it says here over 10 million copies sold. I'm not sure what year that was. This would have been. It says here. It does not say when this one was actually printed. But I see that the list of books in the introduction here, at the beginning, it says Vault of the Vampire, which is book number... Do I have it here now? Well, I got it somewhere. I'm not sure if I actually have it in Total of Evil, so that's 30. I think we're in 30-something, so I think they were sort of halfway through publishing the series, and it's 10 million copies sold worldwide, and I think they definitely got a bit higher than that before the end. Of course, I wouldn't say on this one because that's a different publisher. They wouldn't want to brag about how many copies were sold by another publisher before them. Without too much more rambling on, well, I'm going to ramble a little bit. Just indulge me, please. And if you don't like that, just skip to the best bits, if you like. You may notice I'm using my proper camera again today. I'm using my my proper stills camera, not my webcam, which is a lot sharper and higher resolution than my webcam. And the reason I'm doing that is because my webcam failed a bit on me the other day when I was doing an episode, and I'm not sure if it's a webcam's fault or something else, but regardless, I wanted to use the other one, and because it's much better quality as well. The only reason I hadn't been using it before is because of the half-an-hour recording limit that you have in the EU on stills cameras. But what I'm doing today, and I'm testing this for the first time properly, is to record it directly to the computer. So I've got an interface now that I can connect my HDMI output from the camera to the computer, and it works pretty much like a webcam. With a little bit of a delay because it's hardware decoding as well, or encoding rather, in the interface, and then recording the stream of the encoded stream to the computer, which takes away the half-an-hour limit completely, but it has a few limitations of its own, and one of them is that with this camera, with the Panasonic FZ1000 or FZ1000 for you Americans out there, it doesn't do continuous autofocus. So as you can see now, focus is not changing. I have to do it manually. I could, of course, so if I need to refocus my lens, I can't do that. So well, I have to do it manually with a focus ring, which is fine. So I can't do this and zoom in on the book like I've been able to do before. So I have to sort of decide on my focus before I start filming, and also I can, of course, reach out and change it as well, but it's a bit fiddly. So yeah, today I'm playing Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and I'm really looking forward to this because this is the first one I've played before, and I'm just going to say a little bit about that too, actually. Yes, I think it was 1985. I'm sure it was 85. I was in town with my mum, and we went into the students' bookshop. The students' bookshop at the university, they had an amazing selection of books, and I always liked browsing books when I was young. All kinds of books, and they had some of the coolest ones there. They also had a very nice children's section. It was quite small, but they had a children's section. And on a little sort of display all by itself, on a shelf, was this book in Norwegian, Um, and the cover, of course, I think it was this kind of cover it had on it. Was it that one? Or was it? I think actually, well, I probably was. Actually, it was probably this one. I'm not 100% sure, actually. It may have been this one. But whatever the case was, it was a cover that immediately appealed to me. So I had to go over and have a look at it. And I opened it up and I started reading it. And just the concept of a game book where you read one paragraph and you choose which one to go to was immediately really fascinating to me. And I just had to buy the book right away. So, well, I was standing there in the shop for a while while my mum was browsing something else, and I was just sort of playing the game, just leafing through the book, and so I bought it, and I kept playing it over and over again, and I just found it sort of fascinating. And I think it was the next year, probably not the same year. I think it was the next year I started buying the original English language books because I could get them in secondhand bookshops. I probably had about at most maybe 15 to 20 of them. And some of them I didn't actually read at all, and some of them I just sort of started playing. The one I kept coming back to, of course, was this one. I got the English one as well, and I did learn a little bit of English from it because at the time I'd only had English in school for like 2 years, and so I was just picking up new stuff like a sponge, as you do when you started learning something, and certainly at that age as well. Um, so I know lots of people in Britain, they actually, or certainly boys, they credit these books with teaching them how to read, as well as inspiring them to do something to do with gaming or to be writers. Lots of things. Actually, these books have um, can take credit for, I think, in Britain and in the world at large, probably as well, um, because they're so fascinating to read and they're so different. Um, that yeah, they're just amazing, and I think it's the game aspect of it as well makes it so fascinating. I think people are actually more likely to read these books over and over and over as well. So you're going to actually end up. It doesn't look like a long book. It isn't a very long book if you think of it from cover to cover. But if you read all of it and you play it again and again and again, and you'll end up read it a lot more than you would with a thicker novel, and also you have much more fun doing it. And they're quite well written as well. I mean, in terms of language, they are not really dumbed down for children. I mean, there are some other lines of game books that were dumbed down for children. That is to say that they were sort of aimed at children, and somebody thought that, oh, let's make it write it a bit simpler and a bit less grown up, and make the drawings a bit more harmless. But I know that Steve Jackson and Neil Livingston, who wrote these, they were quite insistent on the drawings and the covers being quite, I suppose, graphic in a way, with fearsome monsters and gore and zombies and ghouls and things, and it's just amazing what you were able to get away with. And I think that that's part of the appeal as well, because if any of you who are a boy or a man remembers being a 12-year-old boy, there's nothing more fascinating to you than horror films and fantasy films like Conan the Barbarian, and just things with death and fighting and monsters and gore and stuff like that. It's just incredibly fascinating when you're a 12-year-old boy. Um, it's just yeah, so I think that actually is the right way to go. Um, Despite what grown-ups might think, and despite what the sort of film certificate board people might think, that's what kids are after. They like that excitement and also that sort of feeling of being a hero and imagining themselves to being a slayer of monsters and a finder of treasures, like you get to do in these books. Of course, interestingly, also the books, they don't tell you whether you're a boy or a girl. So I know lots of girls also really like these, because if you read any kind of novels with heroic tales of any sort, the heroes were always men. They were always boys. They're always But in these ones, you are you. It's written in the second person. They never tell you what you are. They say you're a hero, you're a sword for hire, you're a mercenary. They don't tell you whether you're a man or a woman, and there's nothing in the dialogue or anything that tells you which you are, and that is a great thing, actually. And that was also partly deliberate as well, which is very nice to know that, because it's almost like a feminist statement in a way, in a very subtle way from the 80s, and without being too much in your face feminist, which there was a lot of in those days as well. So I think that's brilliant, and certainly it's in that sense it was ahead of its time in many ways, quite subtly, but yes, it's there, and it was deliberate. So I've been rambling on for a long time now about these things, and I don't have to be concerned about the half an hour clip limit on my camera anymore, but I still should get on with the game. So for any of you who've been waiting all the way through this initial ramble for me to actually start playing, I will start playing. So I'll be with you in a few moments. I'll just have to move my camera a bit and move my microphone and get my things ready for playing the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Again, for the first time in 35 years, I'm playing this game, or 34-ish years, I'm playing this game. A third of a century. It's been a third of a century since I played this book. I might remember some things. I may have forgotten quite a lot of things. I have no idea what is the correct path anymore, so it'll be very exciting. Okay. See you soon. Right, here we are. I've got my supplies ready, as I usually say. I've got my dice, got my pen, got some paper for writing a map, which I will need to see where I've been. Got my book. I'm going for this version now, because it's got that nice yellowing to it, which is one of the things that is quite charming about these old books. And I got my paper which I will be using for my character sheets. Now, as I usually do when I start playing these games, I will start by crafting my character in the way that is intended by the rules. And usually, as I play it a few times, I get to a point where I just want to get through it, and then I give myself higher abilities than I'm supposed to have. So that's a skill, stamina, and luck. And I will roll for skill 5, so that is 11, stamina 22, and luck, oh my, all 5s today, 11. Actually, those are quite good stats. You might be able to win with that if you know where you're going. But I don't know where I'm going, because I don't know where anything is anymore. And this one, you also have 10 provisions, I believe. I'll just double check now. You got 10 provisions, just like in Caverns of the Snow Witch. And do we have a potion? Let's see. A potion. I usually go with a potion of strength. It's called. That's a stamina potion. I call it potion of stamina. Usually that's the one that makes sense to have, but it might be other ones in this one. Aha. Well, you see, this potion actually can be used twice, according to these rules. That's interesting, because I'll just double check now what it says in the other versions of. Okay, that's 2. Oh, hang on, did I misread that? And I'm just a bit curious now whether it's 1 or 2 in Snow Witch as well. Oh, well. In Caverns of the Snow Witch, the one I just played, it says 1 measure. And this one it says 2. I think that's quite interesting. But in this version, twice. Yeah, okay. So it says 2 there as well. Right. So you've got 2 uses of the potion, and which certainly increases your chances of making it through the game. But of course, as I remember from this game, there are a few wrong paths, and they're more likely to kill you than running out of stamina will be. So, right. This book used to belong to Scott Newton. Let's see, character sheet. Somebody has found all the keys. Well done. On the introduction here, it's called Rumors. Only a foolhardy adventurer would embark upon such a perilous quest without first finding out as much as possible about the mountain and its treasures. Before your arrival at the foot of Firetop Mountain, you spent several days with the townsfolk of a local village some 2 days' journey from the base. Being a likable sort of person, you found it easy to get on with the local peasants. Although they told you many stories about the mysterious Warlock's sanctuary, you could not feel sure that all, or indeed any, of these were based on fact. The villagers had seen many adventurers pass through on their way to the mountain, but very few ever returned. The journey ahead was extremely dangerous, that you knew for certain. Of those who returned to the village, none contemplated going back to Firetop Mountain. There seemed to be some truth in the rumor that the Warlock's treasure was stored in a magnificent chest with 2 locks, and the keys to these locks were guarded by various creatures within the dungeons. The Warlock himself was a sorcerer of great power. Some described him as old, others as young. Some said his power came from an enchanted deck of cards, others from the silky black gloves that he wore. The entrance to the mountain was guarded by a pack of warty-faced goblins, stupid creatures, fond of their food and drink. Towards the inner chambers, the creatures became more fearsome. To reach the inner chambers, you would have to cross a river. The ferry service was regular, but the ferryman enjoyed a good barter, so you should save a gold piece for the trip. The locals also encouraged you to keep a good map of your wanderings, for without a map you would end up hopelessly lost within the mountain. When it finally came to your day of leaving, the whole village turned out to wish you a safe journey. Tears came to the eyes of many of the women, young and old alike. You couldn't help wondering whether they were tears of sorrow shed by eyes which would never see you alive again. Oh well. Now turn over. At last your 2-day hike is over. You unsheathe your sword, lay it on the ground, and sigh with relief as you lower yourself down onto the mossy rocks to sit for a moment's rest. You stretch, rub your eyes, and finally look up at Firetop Mountain. The very mountain itself looks menacing. The steep face in front of you looks to have been savaged by the claws of some gargantuan beast. Sharp rocky crags jut out at unnatural angles. At the top of the mountain you can see the eerie red coloring, probably some strange vegetation, which has given the mountain its name. Perhaps no one will ever know exactly what grows up there, as climbing the peak must surely be impossible. Your quest lies ahead of you. Across the clearing is a dark cave entrance. You pick up your sword, get to your feet, and consider what dangers may lie ahead of you. But with determination you thrust the sword home into its scabbard and approach the cave. You peer into the gloom to see dark slimy walls with pools of water on the stone floor in front of you. The air is cold and dank. You light your lantern and step warily into the blackness. Cobwebs brush your face and you hear the scurrying of tiny feet. Rats, most likely. You set off into the cave. After a few yards you arrive at a junction. Will you turn west or east? Right, I'm turning west or east rather than left or right, interestingly. Right, so time to start my map. So I am here and I am going west 71, west or 278 east. I'm turning east actually. I think there was something there, and then you turn back west again. The passageway soon comes to an end at a locked wooden door. You listen at the door but hear nothing. Will you try to charge the door down? If so, return to 156. If you'd rather turn around and go back to the junction, turn to 92. So we have, of course, I'm not doing a normal map now. I'm doing a paragraph map. So I'm just putting every single paragraph. I'm not mapping out the actual mountain as it were. So 156 is break door. And 92, turn back. Okay, so there we are. Got some arrows there. So I'm going to, oh, hang on. Yes. There we are. So I'm going to break down the door, or charge down the door, 156. You charge a door with your shoulder. Roll 2 dice. If the number rolled is less than or equal to your skill score, you succeed. So we have test skill. Okay. If the number rolled is greater than your skill, so that means that I am actually going to 92 if I don't make it. And or I am going to 43 success. Okay, so and I made it. The skill is 11, so that was less than 11, and I'm going to 343. The door bursts open and you fall headlong into a room. But your heart jumps as you realize you are not landing on the floor, but plunging down a pit of some kind. Luckily, the pit is not particularly deep, and you land in a heap less than 2 meters down. Lose 1 stamina point for your bruises. Climb out of the pit into the room and leave through the door, heading westwards. Okay, so that was just a dead end, so to speak. And oh, I need a pencil as well, don't I? For my so my stamina is down to 21. Okay, so I've forgotten about that completely. See, that's obviously you don't want to turn right there at all. Oops, I've just been tearing the pages here. And I'm taking a sip of water. You arrive back at the junction in the passage. You look left to see the cave entrance in the dim distance, but walk straight on. Turn to 71. I probably should get my red pen out just to mark where I should not be going. So in this case, I should not be turning right there. Okay, there we are. There is a right-hand turn to the north in the passage. Cautiously you approach a sentry post on the corner, and as you look in, you can see a strange goblin-like creature in leather armor asleep at his post. That's this charming fellow here. You try to tiptoe past him. Test your luck. So I'll roll a 7, and my luck goes down to 10. Every time you test luck, your luck is actually reduced. Unlike skill. So I'm lucky he does not wake up and remains snoring loudly. Turn to 301. I can map this out as well. So we got test luck and I'm going to forget writing a map at some point. That's just typical. So 301 lucky and 248 unlucky. So 301 is where I go. I notice the style is a bit different here to the other ones I've played, but maybe it's because it's early days, I hadn't quite settled on it yet. To your left, on the west face of the passage, there is a rough-cut wooden door. You listen at the door, you can hear a rasping sound, which may be some sort of creature snoring. Do you want to open the door? If so, turn to 82. If you wish to press on northwards, turn to 208. So, I have got 82, open door, or 208, go north. I'm going to open the door because this is my first time in a long time and I just have no idea what's going on here. The door opens to reveal a small, smelly room. In the center of the room is a rickety wooden table on which stands a lit candle. Underneath the table is a small wooden box. Asleep on a straw mattress in the far corner of the room is a short, stocky creature with an ugly, warty face. The same sort of creature that you found asleep at the sentry post. You must be the guard for the night watch. You may either return to the corridor and press on northwards, turn to 208, or creep into the room and try to take the box without waking the creature. If you want to try to steal the box, test your luck. So this is slightly different from how the other ones are written in that you have, they would have, these things would actually have had an extra paragraph for these things. So it is a bit more efficient paragraph-wise, actually. So, and so. Test luck in brackets says, so. So we got lucky, unlucky. And 147. Okay, testing my luck, and I'm rolling against 10 now. And yep. And now it's down to 9. You leave the room and open the box in the passage. Inside you find a single piece of gold and a small mouse, which must have been the creature's pet. You keep the coin and release the mouse, which scurries off down the passageway. Gain 2 luck. So my luck is now back to 11. And turn to 208. Okay, that is brilliant. So 146, so that's plus 2 luck and plus 1 gold piece. And then I'm going to 208. Further up the passage along the west wall, you see another door. You listen at it, but hear nothing. If you want to try opening the door, turn to 397. If you want to continue northwards, turn to 363. So we've got 363 north and 397 door. I'm checking out every door now. Might as well, because I don't expect to win this game this time. Oh, that's quite a fancy "your quest is over" thing. Yes, 397. The door opens to reveal a small room with a stone floor and dirty walls. There is a stale smell in the air. In the center of the room is a makeshift wooden table on which is standing a lit candle. Another one. That's the same, practically the same description as the other one. Under the table is a small box. In the far corner of the room is a straw mattress. This is the room for the, I presume this is the other guy's. So we've got 2 guards here, and this is the other guy's cell. Open the box, turn to 240, or leave the room 363. So we've got, or open the box. 240. I'm going to open the box because I like to open boxes The box is light, but something rattles within. That's your clue to stop opening it. You open the lid and a small snake darts out to bite at your wrist. You must fight the snake. That's quite a nice drawing there of a snake. Skill 5, stamina 2. So how the battle works, because for new viewers, every time you face something in a battle, it has a skill score and a stamina score, same as you do. My skill is 11 and my stamina is 21. The snake skill is 5 and the stamina is 2, so it doesn't. And what you do, you take first, you roll 2 dice for the monster you're fighting or whoever you're fighting, and you add that to the skill score, and then you do the same for yourself, add that to your skill score, and if those two numbers are equal, nobody injures anyone, and the one that has the highest number is the one that injures the other by 2 points of stamina. So, and when somebody reaches stamina 0, they're dead and the game is over for them. So the snake rolls 5, which brings, so 5 plus 5 is 10, and I roll 3. 3 plus 11 is 14. So I win the first combat round. I do 2 damage, 2 injury, 2 points to the snake, and that means the snake in this case is dead. Usually, most creatures have more than 2 stamina, so if I kill a snake, I go to 145. So let's see. So snake 5, 2, and then I go to 145. The box has fallen to the ground during your fight with the snake, and out of it has fallen a bronze-colored key with the number 99 carved into it. So I think this is one of the keys that one needs. So key 99. You may take this key with you. Well, I'm going to. And leave the room at 1 luck point. Of course, and now I've got 11 luck, which is my original luck. And none of the stats can go above the original one that you rolled out, except for if you have a potion of fortune, in which case your luck actually goes up by 1 above the original or otherwise stated in the text. And usually there's nothing else stated in the text that you get above these things, which it's a bit of a strange system sometimes, because the skill score, for instance, sometimes you find a shield or a sword that is better than the one you started with, and it tells you that you gain skill, but unless your skill has been reduced by something else, you don't actually go above the original. That's one of the slightly strange artificial limitations of the system, the way it's done, but it's their choice, and I'm sure other game books by other authors are using something different that actually makes more sense in those respects. So, so I'm going to 363. It says, let's see, 363. Okay. Further up the passage on the west wall, you see another similar door. You listen at the door and grimace to hear the worst singing you have ever heard in your life. Do you want to go into the room to investigate this hideous din? So we've got 370. Investigate. Or 42, keep walking. I'm just going to examine that room as well and see what's going on here. The door opens to reveal a small room. The room is dirty and unkempt. A straw mattress lies in one corner. In the center of the room is a wooden table upon which a candle burns, lighting the room with its flickering flame. A small box rests under the table. Seated around the table are 2 small creatures with warty skin, dressed in leather armor. They're drinking some sort of grog, and by the way they stagger to their feet on your arrival, you assume they are very drunk. You may either draw your sword and leap forward at them, turn to 116, or slam the door quickly and run up the passage, turn to 42. So 116 fight. I don't know. Maybe they don't have anything useful, these ones. I'll just skip that for now. I'll just skip that because it doesn't. Yeah. You eventually arrive at the end of the passage at a three-way junction. You may turn either to the west or to the east. Ah, three-way junction. Is this Steve Jackson's bit? Because I noticed Ian Livingstone needs to keep saying T junction. But yeah, three-way junction. So we've got let's do like that. 257 west and 113 east. I'm going to go east. You arrive at another junction in the passage. You might either go northwards or continue eastwards. So we have 78 east or 285 north. I'm going to go east again. The passage ends at a solid wooden door with metal hinges. Listening at the door, you hear strange mutterings and the clatter of what could be pots and pans. Whatever is in there, there are several of them. Do you want to go through the door? So 159. Or turn back. So that's 237. So that is, let's do it there. 237. Turn back. I'm going to open the door. Or go through it, actually, it says, not just open it. You open the door into a large room which can only be the dining room of the same warty-faced creatures you now recognize. Sitting around the large table are 5 orcs, busily drinking and dribbling their bowls of rat gizzard soup. All are involved in a rowdy argument as to who will get to chew the rat bones left in the large soup cauldron. So they do not see you enter. You may be bold and prepared to attack them, or you may not relish the prospect of taking on 5 of these creatures and try to escape. If you wish to leave the room, test your luck. Should I just try to leave the room? I'll just try to leave the room, actually. It seems like too much of a hassle. I'm going to test my luck again, which is 11 now, and I'm rolling an 8, so that is down to 10, and I make it. And yeah, let's see. So I'm going to 237. There was also here a 365 battle. So 237. You move swiftly down the passage and arrive back at the junction to northwards this time to 285. So we go there, 285. You see a well-used door on the right hand, on the east side of the passageway. With your ear to the keyhole, you listen and hear a man screaming for help from inside. Will you open the door or walk on? So we have 314. Walk on, or 213. Open. 213. I'm going to open this door, and is this the one with the orc chieftain? Maybe I sort of vaguely remember something about an orc chieftain. Oh, the door is locked. You may try to charge it down by rolling 2 dice. Okay, so 36. So either you go back there, or you charge open the door, and you go to 36. So right. So again, they've actually got sort of 2 things in one paragraph that would have been 2 paragraphs later. So this is skill check for breaking open the door, and I will try that. So I'm trying to roll 11. Yeah, so I managed to do it. And I go to 36. The locked door bursts open and a nauseating stench hits your nostrils. Inside the room, the floor is covered with bones, rotting vegetation, and slime. A wild-haired old man clothed in rags rushes at you screaming. His beard is long and grey and he is waving an old wooden chair leg. Is he simply insane as he appears, or has this been some kind of trap? You may either shout at him to try to calm him down, or draw your sword and attack him. So this is quite a disturbing scene. It looks like it's got a skylight there. That's very nice, isn't it? Right. Oh, and that's just a shaft for people to drop down food for him or something. Right. So we are going to attack or calm down. So we got attack is 353. 263 calm down. Okay, so I think I'm going to try to talk to him and calm him down. Whether that works or not, I can't remember. It's been a third of a century after all. You shout, "You are freed, old man," at the top of your voice. Instantly his ranting ceases. He stops dead in his tracks and sinks to the floor, weeping loudly. As he gradually composes himself, he thanks you many times. You talk with him in the hope of discovering some of the secrets of the mountain, and he begins to tell his story. Many years ago, he was an adventurer like you, in search of the Warlock's treasure. He was captured by the orcs and thrown into his solitary cell as a sort of pet for the creatures. You ask whether he would like to accompany you into the mountain, but he simply wants to leave and see the world again. You ask him for advice, but he says he knows little. He advises you to pay your respects to the boatman. He tells you that you must pull the right-hand lever on the wall ahead to open the iron gate at the end of the passage. He has also learned that the keys to the boathouse are guarded by a man and his dog. You shake hands, leave the room, and go your separate ways. Add 1 luck. Okay, that was quite a nice encounter. Turn to 314. So that is back where... Okay, so that is... over there. So yes, that seems to be the right choice there. Right hand lever. Okay. Further up the passage, you see a door in the east wall. You listen hard, but you can hear no sound. Do you want to open the door to investigate? If you want to, if so, turn to 223. No, I was thinking about 300. That's okay. 220. Door or walk on. So we got door. I'm going to open the door again. I'm going to check the door. There are lots of doors. I like doors. I like to open doors and find out what's behind doors. The door is firmly locked. You may try to force it open, or you may continue along the corridor. So we've got forcing open. 53. I'm going to force the door open. You charge a door, hitting it squarely with your shoulder. Roll 2 dice, and that is skill again. And again, I managed it just. And that is 100 and, so that's, let's see, skill. Okay. And 155. Okay, so I'm going to open the door, see what there is. The door splits along its length, and you can wrench the timbers apart to let yourself in. A torch hangs From one wall, lighting up a small armory room stocked with swords, shields, helmets, daggers, breastplates, and the like. You examine the weaponry and find nothing appearing superior to your own sword. However, a circular iron shield with a golden crescent at its center catches your eye. You pick it up and feel its weight on your arm. If you wish to take this shield, it will aid you in battles by helping to fend off wound damage inflicted by a creature on you. If in a future during a battle in which you are using the shield, the creature wounds you, you may throw 1 die. Okay, so this is actually a better rule for shields than have been in other games where, like in Caverns of the Snow Witch, where you just gain 1 skill by getting a shield. This actually makes sense. You add a new rule. This must be I don't remember if it was Steve Jackson or Ian Livingstone who did Until the River, but maybe this was Steve Jackson doing the first bit. Anyway, so shield. So roll. So 1d6. 6 equals 1 damage instead of 2. Or 0 instead of 1. Are there anything that gives you 1 damage per attack? Okay. However, the shield is heavy. You will have to leave one item behind. Oh. So what items do I have to leave behind? Let's say we have some starting items here. What did I find? I found a gold piece and a key. Well, I can't really leave the key. But does a gold piece count as an item? A ration, surely? Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I'm actually going to remove 1 provision and see if it's... I'm not sure if that's going to be okay, but I'll do that for now and then see if that feels acceptable later when I've done the whole game and mapped it out. And so yeah, so shield, and then I'm going to 300 again. On the east wall of the passage, you see another door, this time made of solid metal. Listening at the door, you hear the sound of tortured screams coming from within. If you wish to try opening the door, turn to 102. You decide to ignore this room, so let's see. So we've got 102 open, and 303. 1. I'm going to open the door again. I'm doing doors today. The door is not locked and opens. The room in front of you seems to be a small torture chamber with various torture devices around the walls. In the center of the room, 2 small hunchbacked creatures are having their fiendish way with a dwarf who is tied to a hook in the ceiling by his wrists. The 2 hunchbacks are poking and cutting him viciously with their swords. The dwarf lets out a final scream and falls silent, eyes closed. His captors make disappointed noises and look round angrily at you as if it were your fault that the dwarf has collapsed. You must act quickly. Will you close the door? Draw your sword and stride over to the dwarf, giving him a jab with your sword and put on an evil laugh for the torturers. That's an interesting set of choices. So we've got oh, that's the wrong place, and we are over here now. So we've got and let's see. Actually, one of them is going back, so I didn't need that one. So it's 19 fight, 68 jab. Oh yeah, I'm gonna fight them. I want a good fight now. These 2 evil creatures are goblins. They attack you 1 at a time. Okay, so we've got our battle. So they are skill stamina 5, 5, and 5, 6. And if I win, I go to 317. Okay. So that's goblins. 5, 5, 5, 6. Okay. Right. So I'm 5, 5, 5, 6, and I am at the moment 11 to 21. So first goblin. So he rolls a 3. I roll a 5 because there's no way you can do that. So that's down to 3. He rolls a 6. Still no way he can make it if he rolls that low. 5. Yeah, I don't even need to roll for that because it's less than my skill. So he is dead. 10. Okay, that's more of a challenge. 6, 7, nope. And 5. Yeah, no, we can't make that. So I do like rolling my own attack rolls, even when I don't technically need to. Right, so I'll beat those and I go to 317. You cut down the dwarf. He is, as you guessed, dead. Going through the pockets of the 2 goblins, you find a large piece of sweet-smelling cheese. If you wish to take this with you, put it in your pack. So I'm taking the cheese with me. So cheese. And leave the room northwards. So I'll turn to 303. So there we are. You arrive at the end of the passage, where it meets another going east-west, but an iron portcullis blocks your way, and no amount of charging is going to budge it. On the wall to your right are 2 levers, and it seems likely that these levers have something to do with raising the portcullis. You wish to pull the right lever or the left lever, and of course the old man told me the right lever was the right one, which is also what I seem to remember. So, and this portcullis was also featured in Return to Firetop Mountain. I presume the left one is a trap, so yeah. You hear a deep rumbling noise and the ground begins to shudder. Slowly and noisily the portcullis rises into the ceiling. I may now walk to the junction. We turn west or east. So I'll just move this up here now. West or east. So right. West or east? I want to go west. So 210. Shortly along the passage, you arrive at another junction where you may go either straight ahead, westwards, or northwards. So we have 225 west to 357. I'm going to go north. The passage runs for some distance northwards and then starts to open into a large cavern with rough walls. There appears to be no way through. Will you return to the junction or enter the cavern? Okay. So we got 57 cavern or 269 return. I'm going to be adventurous. I'm going to enter the cavern. So I'm going to go to 57. As you enter the cavern, you hear loud footsteps behind you, crunching heavily on the rocky floor. You crouch down beside the entrance in a small alcove in the rock. The steps get louder and you see a great ogre enter the cavern. He stands over 2 meters tall and is dressed in ill-fitting garments made from some sort of hide. He carries a large wooden club. You may attack him as he enters, try to creep out without him noticing you, or try to distract him by throwing something into a far corner. So we've got 2 creep, throw, or attack. Try to distract him, I suppose, might be the way to go. I don't remember this guy. You open your pack and reach inside for something suitable to throw across the cavern. Check your equipment list. Choose one item to throw and cross it off your list. Yeah, I'll throw a gold piece. So I'm going to go then to 2, 6, 9. You arrive back at the junction and turn westwards. Turn to 225. So that's down there, 225. The passageway continues westwards and then turns due north. Some way up, you reach a junction where a narrow passage runs off to the west. Will you continue northwards? I'll take the west way. So we've got 63 west or north. Okay, so we've got, I'm going to go west this time. As you walk along the corridor, you can see ahead that it's getting narrower. At one point you stoop, and as you do so, a deep resonating laugh starts up around you. Do you wish to continue? If so, turn to 281. Continue. If you wish to turn back, turn to 10. I'm going to continue, see where this is going. The narrow passageway eventually becomes too small for you to walk along. You get down on your hands and knees and crawl. Eventually you will get no further and there seems to be no way through, so you decide to return to the main passage. You head for the junction, turn to 10. So I'm going to 10. You arrive back at the junction and turn northwards. Turn to 77. Okay, so that's there, 77. Several meters up the passageway, you arrive at a junction where you may turn either west or east. Set in the rock on the north wall is a small recess where you may rest and eat provisions without being seen. If you wish to take provisions here, do so. Afterwards, you may set off either west-eastwards or westwards. Right, so I'm going east or west. 345 east, 18 west. I'm going to go west. You walk westwards along the passageway. After 50 meters or so, the way turns northwards. 2 or 3 paces up the passage, you hear a crumbling beneath your feet, and you try to leap back as the ground gives way. Test your luck. If you're lucky, you manage to leap quickly backwards before a pit opens. Okay, so it's testing my luck, which is 11. And down to 10. Okay. I'll lose 1 stamina point. If you were lucky, you had better return to the junction, turn to 261. If you're unlucky, turn to 348. Okay, so Okay, so 348. Again, this is a strange way to write it compared to how it was done in the other ones I have played so far. 261. I quite like it though. Okay, and lucky. So 261. You reach a junction and continue eastwards. Turn to 345. This is one of the doing the map now. This is one of the game books where mapping it out as an actual map also works really well compared to what I'm doing now, because you're going one way and you're turning back, and you're going one way and turning back. And of course, the extra paragraphs it takes you to turn back, sometimes it adds unnecessary clutter to the map. But yeah, that's just the way I've been doing it for all the books now. So I'm just going to keep to that paradigm at the moment. Okay. So 345, you follow the passage eastwards for several meters, then it turns to the north. Shortly, you reach another junction where you might either go straight on to the 381 or turn right. So 381 or into an eastward pattern. Okay, so 311. So 311. I'm going to go straight on, so that's north, and then this east to north there. 381. The passage ends at a wooden door trimmed in iron. Various inscriptions adorn the door, but none make any sense to you. You listen but hear nothing. You may either open the door, turn to 84. So 84, open, or 280, return. So I'm going to open the door. I'm going to go to 84. That rhymes, so it must be true. The door opens into a small room, comfortably furnished with a table, several chairs, and a large bookcase which covers one wall. That's this picture right here. Seated at the table is an old man with a long grey beard, and squatting on the old man's shoulder is a small winged beast. This creature is no more than 6 centimeters tall. It has 2 arms and legs. Its skin is a dusty grey color. It has tiny, sharp, white teeth, and its wings are folded behind its back. The old man says nothing as you walk in through the door, but he beckons you over to sit down at a table. He is tossing in his hand 2 small white objects. Will you sit down, leave the room, draw your sword? Okay, leave the room. That's that one. Let's sit down. 377. Sword. Sit down. Oops. 204. 204. Sit. I'm going to sit down and take a sip of water. The old man does not look up from the table, but his devilish little pet eyes eyes you suspiciously and starts chattering in a small, squeaky voice. The old man grunts and asks you whether you are game for a wager. Will you accept? You may only do so if you have at least 1 gold piece. If so, turn to 130. If not, you may either leave the room or attack the man. So 130. I actually used my last gold piece to distract the ogre, so I'm going to attack him. As you draw your sword, the winged gremlin flaps into the air and attacks you, while the old man rushes over to the bookshelf, touches a book, and escapes through a secret doorway that opens for him. But he must fight his pet. Right, and again, he's got 5-7, so not very... And I've got 11-21, so he rolls an 8, I roll a 4. So let's see, 5. So that is... He rolls 5, so that's He was a 6. Even with Snake Eyes, I'm beating him. He rolls an 8. I roll a 5, so it is dead. And then it's 196. So that is 5, 7 gremlin. You search a room. Try as you may, you cannot find the secret switch to open the door in the bookshelf. The old man must have locked it from the inside. You do find 5 gold pieces in a drawer in the table. You decide to return to the junction to the south. Turn to 280. Okay, so I'm going to go to 280. So 280 I've got there. Yeah, that's 280. So I'll 280. Now I've got 5 gold pieces. Just make a note of that so I don't forget. You arrive back at the junction and this time take the passageway to the east. Turn to 311. The passageway ends in a door at which you listen but hear nothing. Trying the handle, you find that the door opens to reveal a large square room. The room is completely bare, but the floor is covered in a mosaic of tiles. 2 shapes stand out on the floor, star-shaped tiles and hand-shaped tiles. A door on the opposite wall is the only way through. So, will you walk across the room to the door? Across the room stepping only on stars or only on hands? So we've got 3 options. So it's hands, 108, stars 178, or just walk 305. I think, if I recall correctly, that something happened when you stepped on the hands. They became hands that actually grabbed you. So I'm going to try stepping on the stars. You tiptoe precariously across the room to the door in the north wall. You open the door and proceed through it. Turn to 162. 162. Okay. That seems to be the right choice then. The passageway ahead runs northwards and you follow this until you reach another junction. Here you may either continue northwards, turn to 23, or you may turn westwards, turn to 69. Okay. So we've got north or west, 69 or 23. I'm going to go west, 69. Some way along the passage, the corridor bends round to the north, and you follow it until you reach another junction. At this junction, you see an arrow cut into the rock, pointing to the north, and you decide to try this direction. Turn to 244. The passage runs northwards, and ahead you can hear the splashings of an underground river. The air becomes cool and fresh. You soon reach a wide opening of a riverbank, but despair as you look across to see no way through on the other side. To the east, the river flows through a cave in the rock. You may either sit, rest, and eat provisions, turn to 143, or continue by what seems to be the only way forward, jumping into the river and swimming downstream. Right, I'm not going to eat provisions, so let's see. So it's eat or swim. So 3 and 143. Eat. Or 399. Swim. So I'm going to swim. Sounds a bit risky, but there you go. The current is strong and takes you swiftly downstream. You are washed along through a narrow opening and out into a large cavern with banks on both sides. The current washes you onto the south bank. Turn to 218. So 218. You are on the south bank of an underground river, facing across its black depths. There appear to be 4 ways of crossing. To your left, a rusted bell bears the sign ferry service, 2 gold pieces. Please ring bell, or please ring. There is a small raft in front of you on the bank with a long stick resting beside it. You could punt across the river. A rickety old bridge crosses on the right. If you don't trust any of these, you may swim. Which will you choose? Well, I've been recommended the ferry service. I can't remember what happens with the other options there. And bridges, yeah, well, not sure. Let's see. So we've got ring the bell. Let's lay them out like that. So 3 bell, 386. Raft, 209. Bridge, and 316. Swim. I'm going to try the bridge, actually. I can't remember what happens with the bridge. I'm just curious now. The timbers of the bridge are rotting and decayed from years of neglect. A single plank snaps under your foot. Roll 1 die. A roll of 6. Nope. Sends you splashing into the river below. 158. Roll of 158. Roll of 1 to 5, rather. Means you regain your footing, turn to 47. So we've got... So 158 river and 47 footing. In the middle of the river, the bridge swings to and fro as it strains to take your weight. The handrail comes away suddenly as you lean on it. Roll 1 die. And again, it's 6. You fall into the river. No. So, and then I go on, which is 298. This is the kind of thing that later in other games I've played now, there would be luck rolls rather than just rolling and die, usually. The bridge is slippery from the splashings of the water. At one point you slip on a tuft of wet moss covering the timbers. Roll 1 die, again. A roll of 6 means you slip from the bridge and into the water. 5, okay, that's fine. And then I get to the north bank, which is paragraph 7. Okay, so that's... I presume falling in the water isn't very good because you... Anyway. I probably should do the north bank on a new piece of paper. So there we are. So 7, north bank. You are on the north bank of a fast-flowing river in a large underground cavern. Turn to 214. Facing northwards, the rock face is smooth and glistening with moisture. Moss of many different hues grows on the surface. There is an eerie silence punctuated only by the splashings of the river as it flows behind you. You have 3 options. A passage runs off to the northwest. If you take this route, turn to 271. A large timber door is directly in front of you in the middle of the rock face. Turn to 104. And 3rd option, overleaf, it says, helpfully. Another passage runs out along the river eastwards. To follow this along the riverbank, turn to 99. Okay, so we've got 271 northwest. Door 104 and 99 east. I'll try the door. been a day of door opening so far. You find yourself in a short, narrow passageway with the door ahead to the north. You try this door. Turn to 49. Okay, that was easy enough. The door squeaks open on rusty hinges. The room is dark and your eyes begin to adjust themselves as you close the door behind you. You hear a shuffling in the room, but before you can react, a blow to your head knocks you senseless. Lose 2 stamina points and turn to 122. Okay, so this is a sort of a trap, I guess. Okay. 122. Now, of course, you awake somewhere else, so of course, map-wise, let's see, let's just do, let's go off on the side there a bit, and I'll do 122 over there. You can't actually see what I'm doing now. I'll see on the map there. So what I'm doing is, yeah, I'm just taking this location and going off to the right here. Okay. So you awake with a throbbing head and look around. The room is about 8 meters square, with doors to the north and south. You have been dumped in the southwest corner. Standing motionless in the center of the room are 4 men. At least they appear to be men. Their skin is a greeny-grey color. Their clothes are tattered and torn, and they are all staring vacantly at the ceiling. One carries a club, one a scythe, one an axe, and one a pick. They are ignoring you completely. Around the room are various peasant-style weapons, pitchforks, axe handles, pointed sticks, etc. 1 or 2 shields and several barrels. In the northeast corner is a human corpse with a sword in one hand and a shield in the other. You move your hand up to your head to feel for signs of blood, and you are relieved to find you are not bleeding. But as your hand moves, the strange creatures in the center of the room turn their eyes down towards you. Do you try to talk to them, jump to your feet and charge them with your sword, or scramble for an exit through the south door? So we've got 13 south, 268 talk, or 282 to fight. They don't look like the talking kind, do they? I'll try to talk anyway. Just curious what happens when you do. Right, let's see. Their vocabulary is limited to a series of moans and groans. They appear not to be intelligent at all. Oh, bit of a hair got on the printing plate there. Furthermore, your conversation merely serves to attract their attention to you. They grip your conversation, if you can call it that. They grip their weapons, and it looks as though you will have to fight them. However, there is a slim chance that you could make it through the door to the door you came in through. Now that is a little bit of a typo there, because obviously, well, I didn't come through the door, did I? Well, I didn't know I came through the door. Okay, so continuity-wise, not the best wording there. So I can try for the door again to 13. Oh, what's happening here? Got a smudge on my paper. Right, so or battle. I'm going to try for the door in that case. Your head hurts and you feel dizzy as you rise to your feet. The 4 men stir into action and move towards you in single file with their weapons ready. You grope your way down the wall for the south door, but it will be touch and go whether you make it. Your foot slips on a loose pebble and you fall to the ground. Before you can regain your footing, the creatures are upon you. So, obviously, fighting is the only way to go anyway. It looks like fighting was the only option you would end up doing. So here we are. The 4 creatures shuffling towards you are mindless zombies. Their vacant eyes suggest that their actions are controlled by a will which is not their own. You are still too dizzy to think properly, but you must act quickly. The first zombie reaches you and prepares to swing his club. You must fight him. So Right, so we've got zombie number 1 is 7-6, and I am currently on 11-19. So he rolls 5, I roll a 7. That means he's down to 4 hit points. He rolls a 12, ooh, impressive, and I roll an 11, which is even more impressive actually, because he's down to 2. He rolls a 7, I roll a 12. He's definitely dead, or deader, or dead again, or even more dead, or deadest, or whatever. It's the call of zombies. If you defeat the first zombie, add 2 luck points. Oh, that's good, because I needed 1. Turn to face the other 3, fight each in turn. So 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 5. A little misprint there. The 5 is a little bit too low. Right, 6. So he rolls an 11. I rolled a 12. Oh my, this rolling is quite interesting today. He rolls a 5. I roll an 11 again. He rolls a 10. I roll a 9. He is dead. Next one rolls a 7. I roll an 8. He is down to 4. He rolls a 6. I roll a 5. He rolls a 9 and I roll a 6. Next one rolls a 10. I roll 4. That means he hits me, doesn't he? Finally. So there we are. He rolls a 9. I roll an 11. He's down to 3. He rolls an 11. I roll a 9. And finally, maybe, he rolls a 10 and I roll a 7. That is him also deader than dead. And I defeated all 4 and I turn to 100, excuse me, and 15. So 115. The poor wretches lying dead at your feet almost look happy to be relieved of the burden of life. But as you look down at them, you sense that you are not the only one to know of their deaths. Looking around the room, you may investigate the weapons lying around. Go over to the dead body in the northeast corner or check the barrels. I'm going to start by checking out the weapons. I'm going to start with the weapons. I presume I'm going to be given choices of doing all these in any order, hopefully. So we've got... oh, interestingly, you're not given the option of leaving. That is very weird, actually. One really should be given the option of leaving and just not investigating anything. Native weapons. Dead body or barrels. So weapons first. I'm going to go to 95. You find nothing remarkable about the weapons. In fact, not a single weapon looks more useful than your sword. As you search the debris, you hear a deep thumping from the north, followed by a scream which sends a shiver down your spine. You rush to north door to investigate. Why? So I didn't get a chance to look at the other stuff. Oh, that's a bit of a bummer. Right. 205. So I suppose you had limited time then to check out the room. And the important stuff is somewhere else. The door opens and you find yourself in a dark crypt of some kind. The room is very large. At one end is an altar, and various coffins are strewn about the room. There is a door behind you in the south wall, and also one in the west wall. You want to investigate the room well, of course there's one in the south wall. I just came through that one, didn't I? If you want to investigate the room further, turn to 254. If the place gives you the creeps, you can leave via the west door, 380. So we've got 380 west or 254 investigate. And I'm going to investigate. It looks creepy enough that that's interesting. So 254. The silence is deathly. A slow drip startles you as you creep around the coffins. The altar is ornately carved and studded with jewels. Beautifully woven drapes hang from the walls, although they are threadbare in places. There are 3 coffins in the room. A creaking noise makes you whirl round, and the light from your lantern falls on the largest coffin. It is opening! As you watch, a tall man with a white face sits upright. His eyes open and fall on you. His expression changes from one of tranquility to one of abject hate. His mouth opens and a terrifying hiss comes from his throat. His teeth are wolf-like. He beckons you to come over. Do you approach him, draw your sword, reach into your bag for another means of attack, or run for the west door? So we've got run for the west door. Right, so add 279 bag 352 approach. Nice to be given the option of approaching, because normally the vampire, I presume this is the vampire, their sort of powers of mind control are so strong you would have to actually try to work against it. So you probably would have to roll a luck roll or something just to not be able to, just to not have to do that. So 3, 3, 3. I don't think I have anything that will work against a. Well, I forgot to roll for my shield earlier when I got injured. I'll just roll that now. Nope, didn't work. I'm not going to approach him as he wishes. I'm going to attack him, actually. I will attack him. As you swing your sword at the creature, it reaches out and catches the blade in its hand. Your weapon is almost ineffective against the considerable strength of the creature. You realize this and panic, but you must fight on. Let's see. If you defeat the vampire, turn to blah blah blah. If you wish to try to escape, which you may only do after 6 full attack rounds, you will have to be lucky. Right, so 10, 10. Okay, so he is, and I'm 11, 17. Right. So he rolls 5. I roll an 8. So he is down to 8 hit points. He rolls a 7. I roll a 6. So that is a draw. He rolls an 8. I roll a 7. That is a draw. He rolls an 8. I roll a 5. And then I roll for my shield. No. So that is 15. He rolls a 5. I roll a 5. So he is down to 6 hit points. He rolls a 10. I roll a 3. I roll for my shield. And he rolls a 7. I roll a 4. I roll for my shield. He rolls a 10. I roll a 3. I roll for my shield. He rolls an 11. I roll a 10. It's a draw. He rolls a 6. I roll a 10. It's down to 4 hit points. He rolls a 6. I roll an 11. He's down to 2 hit points. He rolls a 4. I roll a 6, and he is dead, or deader, or as dead as he should be, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, 327. So that's 10. 10 vampire. And I'm going to 327. The body on the floor turns visibly older in front of your eyes. The face looks 50, then 90, then well over 100 years old. The skin rots and the eyes decompose as you watch. You notice a movement coming from the creature's chest. As the remnants of the vampire decay, a small black face breaks through its chest. It resembles a small black shrew, but as it frees itself and unfurls its wings, you realize it is a bat. You lunge at it, but it flaps away into the darkness. You search the whole chamber quickly. Remember, there are several other coffins there. And find 30 gold pieces. So I've got 35 gold pieces now. A book and a Y-shaped stick. So Y stick book. Oh, I can only take them if I leave something behind. Okay, I'll leave the cheese behind then. I get 3 luck points for didn't need luck points, and then I can leave through the door and go to 380. Right. It's a bit weird having to sort of leave items to pick up items, because at some point you will have to start picking up items. So, yes, it's a strange thing, I think. Anyway. Right. 380. Let's see. You are in a narrow east-west corridor. Looking westwards, you can see a crossroads ahead. You go on to the crossroads, turn to 37. So I'm going to 37. Crossroads. Standing at the crossroads, you may either go north, west, or south. Right. Okay, so north, west, or south. I'm going to go north. Okay. You're following a passageway which leads ahead to the north. After several meters, it bends sharply to the east. You continue eastwards until you eventually come across a narrow opening in the north wall. You may go through this opening, turn to 89. Or continue eastwards, turn to 62. I'm going to go through the opening. You climb through the opening and find yourself at the top of a narrow staircase leading downwards. Cautiously you descend the stairs. Turn to 286. Stairs. The narrow staircase is cut into the rock, and there are about 20 steps leading down. At the bottom of the steps, a passageway leads you into a large open chamber. This chamber stinks of putrefying flesh. The smell is so bad that you are tempted to turn back. Three bodies lie in the chamber. You might either search the bodies or tiptoe quietly through the room. Right. So we got 3 bodies. Okay. So through the room, 107. So first, 294, 275, 148. So that's body 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to search the first one. You find 5 gold pieces in the pockets of the corpse. Enter these on your adventure sheet and add 1 luck point, which I don't need at the moment. So I'm up to 40 gold pieces. Look at the second body. I think one of these bodies is a... Oh, yes, that's what I thought it was. As you move over towards the second body, you accidentally kick the third corpse on the floor. Its eyes flick open and it quickly sits up and slashes at you with its long, sharp fingernails. Test your luck. And yeah. So let's see. Okay, test luck. I was lucky, so I don't have to lose any stamina, and I go to 230. The creature now standing before you is a semi-decayed man. His quick eyes dart from side to side, watching you. His long tongue flashes out with a hissing noise. His teeth and nails are sharp, and he doesn't seem to be afraid of your weapon. He is a ghoul. So, ghoul 8-7. He has the ability to paralyze you if he scores 4 separate wounds on you during this battle, so beware. Okay, so I have to be careful then. Let's see. So he's got 8-7 against my 11-17. No, hang on. 11-9. I've got 11-9. I'll keep going down. Okay. So he rolls 4. I roll a 6. He's down to 5. He rolls a 6. I roll a 4. He's down to 3. He rolls an 8. I roll an 8. He's down to 1 hit point. And he rolls a 7. I roll a 4. That is a draw. He rolls an 8. I roll a 9. And he is dead, or even deader than before. So you defeat him. 10 to 390. The ghoul twitches and dies at your feet. You search his body and find little of interest. A couple of earrings worth 1 gold piece between them, and in one of his pockets. Or in one of his pockets. You may take these. So let's see. So I got earrings. If you haven't already searched the first body, you may do so and find I've got that. You may also rest and eat provisions, which I will do. So I'm going to eat myself up to, I got to go up to 22, so I'm down by 13. I'm going to eat 3 and get up to 21. Get 2 luck points. Northwards, or such a second. Okay. Right, I have to look at the other body as well. So yeah, because I'm doing 393 for searching the second body, which was the third body, really, wasn't it? You search a pocket in the other body and find 8 gold pieces. So I'm up to 48 gold. A bottle of liquid. Bottle liquid. Parchment. To read the parchments, right, so let's see, where am I now? I'm doing, hang on, this is, okay, let's see, parchment. Let's see, so second body, let's see, that should be on this side, so 393. Parchment, and then I'm going to, I'm messing up my map now, or I could go north, which is 120 there, and reading the parchment is 212. Read, or testing the liquid. Oh, sorry, that should be like so. I'm going to read the parchment first of all. The parchment is well worn and almost illegible. It is a map of some sort, headed The Maze of Zagor. You can make little sense of it, although a room to the north is marked ... GER and another to the east is marked SM ... P ... LE. Okay. So north and east. Okay. North, danger. Danger. Could be danger. Small something. You fold up the map and put it in your pocket. If you're not yet tested the liquid, I want to test the liquid. You swallow some of the liquid. Turn to 109. Okay, this is a necessary paragraph there. They were being so efficient otherwise. That's a bit of a letdown, isn't it? 109. The liquid is smooth and watery, and as you drink it, you begin to glow. You feel euphoric and a little drunk at the same time. Your confidence grows and your weariness disappears. The bottle contains holy water, blessed by the overpriest of Kainla Shma. It has restored your stamina almost to full strength. Increase your stamina to 2 points below your initial stamina. Well, already 8, so that's, yeah, okay. Add points to your current skill to take the total to 1 point under your initial skill, but I haven't lost any skill, and you may add 4 luck points. I don't need any luck. But yeah, that is quite a find, isn't it? Let's see, so... Holy water. So I presume that there are places where you could have lost skill and luck by now, since you actually can use that. So... so I'm going northwards, 120. You leave the chamber, walk down a short passage and reach a staircase going up. You climb the stairs and arrive at the top of a passageway. Turn to 197. So I'm going to 197. At the top of the stairs, the passage turns sharply to the east. As you pause to get your bearings, you hear a creaking in the rock behind you. Spin round in time to see excuse me, a heavy portcullis drop to seal off the passageway behind you. Your only way now is forward. You may either press on forward, turn to 48, or you may check the walls for secret passages. So 48. Forward. And 295 secret. I'm going to look for secret passages because usually you don't get the option, do you? So if you get the option, maybe there is something. You find no secret passages. However, your explorations attract some sort of creature. Oh, I see, wandering creature. And as you listen, you can hear something coming down the corridor towards you. I'm sort of inside the maze now, the maze of Zagor. To find out what sort of wandering monster you have come across, turn to 161. You must fight the creature, and if you defeat it, you may press on down a passageway by turning to 48. So, wandering monster. This will be interesting to simulate. Right, so I'm going to... Oops. 161. Yes, that's the one I'm going to... right, so... I'm going to roll the dice to see what I meet. I'm going to meet an orc, 6-3. So he rolls a 5, I roll a 7, so he's got 1 hit point left. He rolls a 9, I roll a 9, and he is dead. That was easy. And then go to 48. You're in an east-west corridor. If you go east, you will turn a corner northwards. To go west, turn to 60. So 60 and 391 east. I'm gonna go east. You are at the south end of a north-south corridor. Looking northwards, you can see a passage coming out from the east wall. Do you want to go up this passage? Check for secret passages as you walk northwards. to go south, following a bend to the west. So that means I can go back where I came from. I can go up to 52, or I can check for secret passages. 362 secrets. I'm going to go to 52. You're standing at the T-junction where a passage to the east comes off a north-south corridor. To go south, turn to 391, so that is also a two-way street. Check for secret passages. You can do that here as well. To go north, turn to 354. And check for secret passages on the way north, 234. And east, 291. I'm not sure I'm mapping this in the most efficient way now. I want to go east. You're standing in the middle of an east-west corridor. To the east is a dead end, which you can investigate by turning to 315. And to the west is a familiar junction, turn to 52, okay. And then is someone going north to a wooden door, 227. So I'm going to investigate the dead end first by going to 315. The dead end appears to have no secret passageways, but you can check by turning to 306. If you don't want to double check for secret passages, turn to 291. Okay, so... okay, that's a weird wording there, but I'll let that pass. I'm going to check for secret passages and go to 306. You still find no secret passageways, but coming towards you down the corridor, you can see a creature-like shape. So I've got an encounter again. So yes, so I'm going to find a monster. So a monster is going to find me, rather. So we have number 5 monster today, which is a skeleton, 6/5. Okay, so he rolls 4, I roll a 10. He's got 3 hit points left. He rolled a 9, I roll a 5. Oh, terrible timing. Okay, excuse me. Right. So he so yeah, that's me hitting him again. He rolls a 7, I roll an 8, and they'll say at 5 hit points. Yes, so he is dead. Deadest, as dead as it should be. Okay, so there's no secret passageways there. There's no secret passageways there. And then I'm going down again to 291. And then I'm going to check out 227, the door. The door opens and you find yourself in a small smoke-filled room. Sitting in the room around a wooden table are 4 tiny men, each about 1 meter tall. But all are apparently fully mature, with weathered skin and long bushy beards. They are cursing, laughing, and joking as they play a card game. Each one is leaning back on his tiny chair, puffing a long clay pipe. On the table are a number of copper coins and 4 mugs of ale. As you walk in, their merriment stops. They're on their guard, but don't appear to be too dangerous. One stands up and makes some comment about your lack of manners, not knocking before you came in. The others nod their agreement. Do you chat to them and try to befriend them? Apologize? bow and leave the room, offer to join in their card game, or draw your sword and go for the leader. I'm going to chat to them. So 131. You chat about various things, and they seem eager to be friendly. They feel lonely in the dungeon with so much evil about, and are happy to speak to visitors of a lawful disposition. What are they doing in the middle of all this evilness? They tell you that you are in the maze of Zagor. The only way out is to go deeper into the dungeon. They tell you that the way through the maze is to leave the room, turn right, right, left, keep going straight. Right, so right, right, straight. No, hang on. Right, leave the room. Turn right, right, left, and straight. And then I begin to get a bit vague. Okay, so right. You may, if you wish, eat a meal from your provisions. Don't need to. Well, you have to share it with them, and thus will only gain half the normal stamina. Eventually, you thank them and leave the room. Go to 291. Okay. You're standing in the middle of an east-west corridor. I'm going to go to 52, and then I'm going to go to 354. I'm just going to follow the route they told me now. You're standing at a bend in the passage where you may go either west or south. So I'm going west, 308, and then 14 for check for secret passages. So I'm going to go 308. Okay. You're standing at a crossroads. To the west, the passageway goes on a few meters and turns northwards. To the north, the passageway ends at a door. To the east, the passage continues and eventually turns southwards. Looking south, the passage goes on as far as you can see. So we've got east, south, 160. North, 54. West, 187. Okay, so this is where they don't. I still wanted to go left one more time, didn't I? So west one, yeah, straight ahead. So 187 is my next one. And you're standing in the corner of a bend in the passage. To the north, the passage ends in a dead end. Okay. To investigate this, turn to 171. Want to go east. Okay, so that means I want to investigate the dead end. Go to 171. You're standing at the north end of a short north-south passage. You are at the dead end. To investigate the wall, turn to 337. Okay, so 337. You find no secret passages, but as you press the walls, you hear a click. You feel dizzy and slump to the ground. When you come to, the surroundings look strange. Turn to 267. Oh dear. Okay, so that's a kind of a trap that takes you to 267. You now stand at the crossroads. North 312, south 246, west 79, and east 349. And I don't recognize any of those. Okay, so this is going to make it troublesome to map this out. So I'll just make a little sort of improvised thing down here for now. 267 and 312, 246, 79, I'll get to somewhere familiar with. Some 79 and 349. I'm going to go east, 349. You walk a few meters down the passage and find yourself at a dead end. And that's 30. Okay, so I'm going to go to the dead end. A loose stone falls out to reveal a rope in the rock. Wish to pull it, turn to 67. So let's see, 67. 7, rope. I'm going to check out the rope. You pull on the rope and a small door swings open, revealing a passage into a north-south corridor. Will you return to the crossroads or go through the secret door? Turn to 177. So I'm going to go through the secret door. You're standing in a north-south passage. To the north, you can see a passage over to the east. Turn to 52. Okay. To the south, the passage turns westwards. You may go to the southern end of the passage by turning to 391. In the west wall in front of you is a secret door. To go through this, turn to 175. So, okay, so 175, but 52. And then 391. Okay, this is going to get really messy until I figure this out. I'm going to go south to 391. You're at the south end of a north-south corridor. Looking northwards, you can see a passage coming out from the east wall. Oh, hang on, 391. Oh, hang on. 391 is there. Aha, so 52, 157. Okay, so I'm there, and that means I can. That is. Oh, hang on, that wasn't a trap, was it? So I'm going to go and explore 160. So I'm going to 52 first. I'm going north and east, and then I'm going north and west and south. 160. Follow a long narrow passage which goes south and east. Okay, so that goes down to 267, which means 312 takes you up to, okay, so that's basically 308. So basically 160 and 267 is the same thing. So 267. Okay. Okay, 308. Okay, so which means I can go down to here and I can go check out 246. I'm just wandering through the maze now. Instead of south along a cobbled passageway, it swings west, then south, then west again. So west, southwest, and here you can go back east. So that is 70. Let's see, to north 329, west 180. I'm going to go west 180. The passageway goes west and then south. Finally, you come to stop at a dead end. So west, south. Whoops, done that. Investigate. So that is 22. I'm going to investigate the dead end. You poke around looking for signs of secret doors, but can find none. You pause to ponder your situation, and a small jet of gas hisses from the ceiling. You cough and choke, clear your lungs, etc., and you wake up in location number 4. Very devious how to try to keep you from getting your bearings in here. So, north-south corridor, north to east, to get to 46 or 332 for south. Okay, so I'm somewhere else now, and so that's 332. 46. I'm going to go north, 46. Standing in a short east-west passageway with a door blocking the way to the east. And the door is 206. Or you can go back down south. So I'll check out the door. You went to a large square... Hang on. Yes. In a large square room. In the center of the room is a grey-haired old man sitting at a desk. His desk is covered in papers and parchments of various sorts, and he holds a long quill pen. He is surrounded by books. Thousands of them line the shelves around the walls, from floor to ceiling. As you enter, he looks up at you. Will he recognize you? If you've been in this room before, 284. Have I been in this room before? I don't think so. 341. The old man glares at you as you enter the room. You may either apologize, explain that you lost your way, and leave through either the door in the west, 46, south, 392. Or alternatively, you may try to talk to the old man. If you can talk to him, you can either be pleasant or you can demand that he answers your questions. I'm going to demand he answers my questions. He shrieks and hides behind his desk. He is terrified of your aggressive manner. His squeaky little voice explains that he is the maze master in charge of the maze of Zagor. You talk to him and reassure him that you mean no harm, and he eventually comes out from behind the desk. He sits down, and as his confidence returns, a strange thing happens. His manner becomes firm and self-assured. He refers to a book, points his finger, and the book slips from the shelf and floats onto the desk in front of him. You deduce that he is a wizard of some power, perhaps even the dungeon master himself, come to investigate you. You ask him the way out of the maze. He tells you to leave by the south door, walk past the door on your right, until you can go no further, and turn left. Go over a crossroads and turn left at the next one. Okay, so if I follow that, I go to 308. So I'm going to go to 308. I'll try that. You're standing at a... What did it say? That's... Well, hang on. 206. What did it say to do after that? 206. Okay, so go over a crossroads, get into reach the second crossroads. Okay. Does it mean we're supposed to turn left at the next one? 308. So I'm at 308, and let's see, 154. Okay. So that means I need to go 54. Well, this is quite confusing, but this is really well made. Okay, so standing outside the door at the north end of a north-south passage. So I'm going to go through the door. So that is 179. I can't remember this maze so much from... I remember sort of walking in circles and always ending up at 52, but... You've entered a large square room. Broken pottery lies scattered all about. One large clay vase is untouched and is full of clear liquid. A large bowl is full of gold coins. As you enter the room, the door slams behind you and you swing around to face a strange-looking creature, half man, half bull, who is glaring at you. He is a minotaur and he stalks towards you. He lowers his head, horns pointing at your chest, and charges. You must fight him. So he's got a 9. I'm at 11, 21. So he rolls a 3. I roll a 9. He's down to 7. He rolls an 8. I roll an 11. He's down to 5. Rolls a 9. I roll a 9. He's down to 3. He rolls a 6. I roll a 9. It's down to 1. Of course, every good maze needs a minotaur, don't they? So 6 and 7, and he is dead. So I kill him and go to 258. You sort through the broken pots and find little of interest. The liquid looks, smells, and tastes like water. The coins in the pot are a fraud. 8 genuine gold pieces lie on the surface of the pile, and you may take these. Okay, so I've got 56 gold. But underneath are merely painted pieces of pot. As you tip the vase out, it slips and breaks. A red-colored key appears, hidden inside a fool's bottom. So I got key number... I didn't make a note of the first one, did I? So key 99. And now I found key number 111. 2 lock points, don't need that. Rest, don't need that. Leaving the room, turn to 54. Okay, so... Right, 54. So that's a dead end, so I have to go... Now where have I not been? 227. 227? Oh, that's the one. Yeah, okay, so that's the... I've been there. Let's see if I go over here again. I went down there. 329. I can die 329. Okay, so you set off and find yourself in the middle of a north-south passageway. There is a door in the western wall of the passage. Opposite the door is a passage going off eastwards. North is a door. Okay, so there are lots of doors. 392. Let's see. 312. That is actually connected there. So 3. Okay, so I've got here 157, 392, 299, 299, or back south 238. Okay. Door in the west, 157. The door opens into an east-west passage which turns north after several meters. To follow this, going to 4. Okay, so that brings us to up there. So if we go to 392 then. North-south corridor. You may go either northwards, 206. Oh, so that's that one, of course. 300. Oh, hang on. That's 312, isn't it? 392 is there. So 312 is the one I haven't checked out yet. I thought it was 392, it said. That brings me up to 308. Ah, yeah, so that is going up there. Which means that going in a circle. 299. Let's see. Right, so the passageway runs east for several meters and then runs north. You walk along way northwards, you may check for secret passages or proceed to 359. Have I got 359 anywhere? Don't think so. So 359. Secret passages 260. No secret passages if you're on your way north to the 359. Okay, so 260 and no secret passages. 359. You are at a crossroads. Oh, nice and short. To go north, turn to 190. Let's see. I think I'll move 359 up here. So 190. South 94. East 121. And west 385. I needed a bigger sheet of paper for this, I think. 385. I'm going to go west. You travel westwards for several paces and the passage turns to the north. Some way up you reach a junction. You may go south, turn to 114, or west. To the north, the passage ends shortly at the dead end. If you wish to go up there, turn to 398. So, okay, so that's 114 going south. West, 297. And north, 398. We'll go north. You feel around the rock face at the end of the passage. One rock comes free and reveals a small knob with a handle at the end. Will you push it? Turn to 364. Or pull it? Turn to 12. Okay, so 364. Push 12. Pull. I'm going to pull. As you pull the knob, a deafening clanging noise rings through the passageways. You frantically push the knob back to stop the alarm, but it has already had its effect. You can hear footsteps coming closer down the corridor. Turn to 161. And then I'm going to 12 afterwards. Okay. Okay, so I am meeting a number 6. That's the worst one, isn't it? Troll 84. Okay. Okay. Let's say about 1121. So okay, so 84. He rolls a 9. I roll a 7. So that is 2 hit points left. He rolls a 4, and I rolled a 7. So he is dead. That wasn't so bad. This says go to 12, and then it says go to somewhere else. So let's see. I go to. Oh, this is 12, isn't it? Push a knob, 364. As you push a knob, a small stone doorway slides open. You can either ignore it and return to the junction, or you can climb through it. So let's see. So 12 push is correct. You must make a decision quickly as the door shuts of its own accord in a minute's time. Okay. I'm going to climb through it. Go to 373. Okay, so I'm going to... $373. Okay. You're at the south end of a north-south passageway at the dead end. If you go northwards, you will reach a crossroads. Turn to 85. You are at the crossroads. This looks very familiar. To go north, go to 106. To go south, go to 373. Let's see. Yes, so I'm going to see. So that is 85. East 318. West 59. And north 106. Do I know any of those numbers? I can't see them anywhere now. North 106. The passageway ahead runs northwards for some time. You may rest along the passage to eat provisions. It then bends to the west and begins to get quite narrow. You reach a small rocky arch which you will have to stoop to get through. On the other side of the arch, you pause and look around. You're in a large cavern which disappears into distant blackness. The cavern is partially lit by natural light which streams in through a hole in the roof. You cannot see a way through. So, as you shine your lantern around the cavern, you hear a rumble. A dull glow flickers in the blackness. Suddenly, a jet of fire shoots from the depths of the cavern, narrowly missing you and singeing the mossy growth on the wall. You throw yourself onto the ground and look up to see a large dragon stalking out of the darkness towards you. Smoke curls from its nostrils. Its scaly red skin glistens with an oily covering. The beast is some 15 meters long. How will you attack the creature? Draw your sword, or search your memory for another means of attack. I don't know. Do I have another means of attacking a dragon? I suppose I should. Do I have another means of attacking the dragon? Yeah, no. I have to draw the sword. Draw my sword then. 152. So dragon, skill 10, stamina 12. Let's see. So 10, 12. And I've still got 11, 21. Let's see. Right, so he rolls a 6 and I roll a 6. That is. He rolls a 4, I roll a 6. He rolls an 8, I roll a 7. That's a draw. He rolls a 9, I roll a 5. Oh, roll for my shield. No. He rolls a 7, I roll a 9. He rolls a 2, I roll a 9. He rolls a 4, I roll a 10. He rolls a 3 and I roll a 9 and he is dead. That wasn't too hard for a dragon. So I win and I go to 371. I think in terms of mapping, this maze doesn't really work so well with the normal way of doing it the way I do. Say for the moment, you investigate the cavern and find a passageway which continues to the west. Turn to 274. You may rest and eat provisions before you continue and add 3 luck points, which I don't need again, for defeating the dragon. I don't know, you don't seem to use luck much here, or maybe I just haven't got to the places, but you certainly get a lot of luck points. So a potion of fortune seems quite unnecessary in this book. So, 274. You leave the cavern along a long and narrow corridor. After several hundred meters, it ends at the large... I'm sort of out of the maze now, aren't I? Let's see. So I'll definitely need to clean up my map of the maze later. I'll just do... Take this one and go to 274. You leave the cavern along a long, narrow corridor. After several hundred meters, it ends at a large wooden door, which is slightly ajar. Carefully, you ease it open a little further and poke your head around the side to see what is in the room. You see a small old man sitting at a table on his own, playing with a pack of cards. He looks quite harmless, like quite a harmless old soul, grey-haired and bearded. He is seated. What will you do? Burst through the door, sword drawn to surprise the old man? Knock on the door and enter, greeting the old man courteously, or get down on all fours and try to creep into the room unnoticed. Right, so... so 324 burst, 356 knock, 198 creep. I'm just going to burst through the door. Am I going to burst through the door? I'm going to knock on the door. The old man looks at you, accepts your greetings, and bids you sit down. You sit at the table and notice that he is glaring at you. His piercing stare is becoming hypnotic, but you realize this and break eye contact. He opens his mouth to speak, and to your amazement, instead of an old man's voice, the whole room resonates to a powerful voice which seems to be coming from the walls themselves. You throw a glance back at the man and can see him changing before your very eyes. He is of imposing height. His tattered old rags have become robes of velvet and gold. His black eyes are fixed directly on yours. He has been expecting you. 358. Ooh, that's the smallest leap in the history of game books. So, well, this is obviously the Warlock. The battle will call upon all your reserves of strength and cunning. Actually, it doesn't say he's a Warlock now, but, well, we know that. But it doesn't say in the text, which is a bit weird. The battle will call upon all your reserves of strength and cunning. Your adversary has disappeared and now stands at the far end of the room in front of a door with 2 locks. How will you approach him? Grip your sword, look through your pack, look around the room. Do I have anything that might help? I don't think so. But I'll look through my pack anyway, just to see if there's anything there that I'm... what have we got? Potion of invisibility, Eye of the Cyclops, piece of cheese, bow with a silver arrow or a Y-shaped stick. Well, I threw away the piece of cheese, didn't I, at some point? Which leaves me with a Y-shaped stick, so I got a 215. You reach into your pack for the stick only to find it split in 2 pieces. It has broken during your adventure. What else can you try? So maybe... Okay. Well, I don't have anything else then, so I'll just have to attack. 142. His booming voice calls out, "Poor fool, do you think you could match my power with your puny weapon?" You continue with determination. If it is a simple brawl you want, stranger, then I shall give you your last. And with these words he vanishes and reappears behind you. You swing round to face him and the fight starts, but this is a battle to the death. There is no escaping here. And he's got 11, 18, which doesn't seem that impressive, come to think of it. And the potions of stamina seem quite pointless, really. So 11, 18. I've got 11, 19 at the moment. So 11, 18, 11. Just do them in the right order. So he starts rolling a 12, and I rolled a 5. That's not a good start, is it? He rolls a 5. I rolled a 3. Oh, I forgot to roll for my shield. So first for shield, second for shield, and I've got saved 1 hit point. He rolls a 10. I rolled a 10. He rolls a 10. I rolled a 10. Oh, come on. He rolls a 4. I roll a 3. Roll for my shield. Oh, roll for my shield. No. He rolls a 6. I roll a 5. He rolls a 3. I roll 10. He rolls a 2. I roll an 8. He rolls a 6. I roll a 7. For a Warlock, he doesn't seem to use much magic, does he? He rolls a 10. I roll 12. He rolls 7. I roll 8. He rolls 8. I roll 7. Oops, shield. Nope. He rolls 8. I roll 5. He rolls 2. I roll 3. Can't say we're not even. He rolls 10. I roll 7. He rolls 8. I roll 8. He rolls 12. I roll 6. He rolls 10. I roll 2. And I'm not sure if it is clear in the book whether you can use his potions in battle or not. I'll just have a look at that. See if it says anything here. Taken at any time, it says. So in which case, I'll just have to say that I can take a potion of stamina and go back to 24. That seems a bit too easy now when I can do it like that, but he rolls a 4, and I roll a 5. He rolls a 6, I roll a 7. He rolls a 5, and I roll an 8. So actually I killed him without the potion of stamina, which is quite satisfying. And I win. I got turned to 396. With the Warlock now defeated, you know your quest is almost over. You approach a door with 2 locks. There are no keys around. You retrieve 2 keys from your pack and try them in the locks. They turn. You open the door and peer around. Turn to 242, but I do have 2 keys. Not sure if they're the right keys, but I got 99 and 111. So I'm going to 242. Right. A door opens to reveal a small, dimly lit room. The walls are hung with ornate curtains laced in silver and gold. A single flame burns in one corner, throwing light on the low table in the middle of the floor. On this table is a large chest. You stepped up to investigate the chest, and from all around, yet from nowhere, a mysterious sound fills the room. It sounds like the rumbling of thunderclouds preparing to make storm. You approach the chest and can see that it is held shut by 3 locks. As you approach, the noise gets louder. So, hack at the box with your sword to try to split it open, or search through your bags to see if you can find keys to fit. And I've got only 2 keys, and I should have had 3 keys. So obviously I'm missing a key, but getting this far in with 2 keys, I think that's quite good for a first run. I'm going to turn to 139 and see if I find keys to fit. Okay. During your adventure, you will have come across various keys and should have collected some of these. You may now use 3 of these keys to try to open the locks on the chest. Each key is identified with a number. To determine whether you have the right keys, add their 3 numbers together. Okay. If you do not have 3 numbered keys, this is the end of your journey. Sit on the chest and weep as you realize that you will have to explore the mountain once more in order to find the keys. Well, this sort of implies, again, that you're after the money rather than killing the wizard. But yeah, well, that's Ian Livingstone for you. Right, so I sort of won the game, but I didn't get the treasure, which sort of means I didn't really win the game because it's part of it. Now, in this case, because of the keys. So, well, that is the end of the first run, really. And I found 2 keys. I don't know if they're 2 of the right keys. I believe there are 4 keys to be found in this game. So there's the red herring key as well, potentially. At least I seem to have heard something about that, and I can't remember that specifically from back in the day. But this went rather well, actually. I didn't cheat. I got the stats I rolled. I managed to survive all the way through it and didn't technically need to use my potion, and I killed the Warlock and the dragon and the vampire. So yeah, not too shabby, I think. I do get a feeling that this game is easier than some of the others I've played in a way, because the biggest challenge looks to be finding the right path, and once you know it, getting to the end and winning shouldn't be too hard. But that will remain to be seen when I do my Aftermath episode and my simulation. So I will have a look at my map, see where I can go different paths next time, and while trying to pick up the keys that I've already picked up. And so I'll be seeing you again soon. Thank you for watching, and yeah, goodbye for now.